Hello, welcome, Alan, to podcast, and this is episode 4. And I'm happy to see you and have you here sharing your knowledge and your story. And this is about our mindset and how it helps us to achieve our goals, to go out of comfort zone, to see the big vision, to make decisions. So today Alan Edwards here as a guest and sharing with us his success story. Hi Alan.
Hi, Elena. I'm very pleased to have met you recently and also to be here today to talk about my story. I can tell you a little bit about my background first and about how I find that mindset has helped me immensely on my journey in everything, not just with property, which is the sort of sector that I work in. So basically, I started work in a small construction company, a local building company in Portsmouth in Hampshire in the UK many years ago, and I did an indentureship with them, which is essentially a trainee position for 4 years. So during that time, I had aspirations to do things, but what this gave me was the training to be able to do more things in construction. So that being my background, my career has generally been in construction, and I gradually worked for larger contractors, going further and further afield. I went from a local building contractor to a national building contractor, and then I started to work on bigger projects of lots of different types, and eventually I worked on overseas projects as well, major projects, and I worked gradually on more and more projects of different types in such places as the UAE, in the Bahamas. I worked there for 3 years. I worked in Azerbaijan for 3 years, and worked on lots of different types of contracts. So my mindset has always helped me, because I've always wanted to make as much progress as I could in my career, and keeping a positive mindset and using positive affirmations helped me to go from what was essentially working in a local building contractor, not a very big turnover, up to the largest project that I managed as project director was a $1.5 billion project in Baku in Azerbaijan. And that was very challenging, and every day was challenging. I can tell you a bit more about that, but that's just a little bit about my background. And I will just mention that I wrote a book about my experience in construction and managing projects, and it's called Project Deliverance, the 20 Key Factors for Project Success or Failure. And it's available internationally, and it's an international bestseller. In fact, I sold one in Japan recently, which surprised me.
Oh, great. Yeah, so you have such a big experience and in many countries. And of course, it is something that when we go out of country, and there are so many challenges because it is different language, different culture, people maybe different traditions. So what helped you to become successful, and what helped you to overcome challenges which you met on your way?
Yes, I think keeping a positive mindset and always thinking that whatever challenges arise, you can always solve the problems, is a key factor. And this was part of the testimonial that I was given by the client in the Azerbaijan project, the $1.5 billion project, where they recognized that some of the problems were very complex to do with a massive building project, which involved some land reclamation from the sea. And in all that time that I was there, I helped them to solve many technical problems. So keeping a positive attitude about the fact that things can be solved is the first thing. If you think you can do it, then you can. If you think that you can't do it, then you can't. So that's a quote from Henry Ford, which I always find I come back to, because it's a matter of thinking that you can do something, thinking that you can solve problems, thinking that you can overcome challenges. And I've applied this in my personal life as well, which I can explain a little bit more about as well.
Yeah, amazing. So would you say that thinking that you can solve the problem comes from understanding the potential which is in you, that it is much more than you know for now. And this perception that I can do it, maybe I don't know how, but this confidence that I can do it comes from understanding that potential.
Yes, Elena, I think that's absolutely right. And I'd like to use sport as an analogy. When I was very young, I started doing long distance canoeing, which is little known sport, really. But there's a particular race which happens every Easter in the UK. It's the longest canoe race in the world, and it's 200 kilometers or 125 miles. And from going, having never canoed before, when I was very young, to doing this race within a few months, you gradually increase the distance that you paddle your canoe, and these are usually done with two-person canoes. And so I was training with another person for this event, which was 125 miles. So roughly, you canoe at the pace that you can walk. It's about 6 miles an hour. So it takes an awful long time. So we're talking about times usually of in excess of 20 hours to complete 125 miles. But of course, you're gradually getting more and more tired as you do this event. So our training would comprise doing a training event of 6 miles to start with. So you get used to the canoe and how you paddle and how you need refreshment, how you tire, and what you can do to keep your mind positive when you are tired. Because there comes a point, maybe about 35 miles, when you think, well, that's enough. I don't want to do anymore. But then you've still got another 80 miles to go. So you have to adjust your mind to what you can do. And the training usually for this 125-mile event usually comprises a maximum of 35 miles. But if you can do the 35 miles, then you know that you can do the 125. It's just a matter of mindset. It's nothing else. Your body is tired. You need to replenish your body. But as long as you keep telling yourself that you can do it, then you can do it. And I did this race 3 times on 3 successive years. And one of the years, my partner and I won the Reserve Forces Trophy. So it just goes to show what can be done if you keep a positive outlook on what your body's capabilities are.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for sharing the story. It is very inspiring. And how this helped you in your business? How this endurance which you developed during the sport activity and going beyond what you can even think your body can do, how you could bring this experience into your business and how it helped you to grow it?
Yes, that's a very interesting point, because in business you do have many parallels with sport. You have objectives which appear to be unachievable, but as long as you think that you can achieve them, you can look at the problem and try and identify different ways of solving the problem. So, if I give you an example, with regard to property, which is the sort of business that I operate, you can look at different options for purchasing property, and I'm just in the process now of selling a property and also acquiring properties. I've got 3 properties which I'm acquiring for conversion from commercial to residential. So what these are empty buildings which are no use because they've been empty a year or more, and nobody wants them. So what we do is we look at how they can be repurposed from relatively low value commercial into relatively high value residential. So what it involves is looking at each case on its merits and identifying what the appropriate solution is for that particular project. So that's one solution, commercial to residential, some of which can be done with permitted development rights, which makes it easier than going through a full planning application for a change of use. So that's one solution. Or another solution may be that you can discuss with the vendor of the property that they actually fund your purchase. So they loan you money so that you can buy their property. And another option would be that you rent the property from them first with an option to buy. So there are all sorts of different solutions that can be applied, but what you need to do is vice versa, if you're the vendor and someone else is purchasing property from you, look at all the possible ways that a solution can be found and identify the one that's most suitable for the particular case in hand.
Yeah, it is very good analogy to think out of the box, because sometimes people conditioned to see one picture and think only inside that picture. And if we want to have a bigger picture, we should make it habitual to look out of the box and consider all different situations that can come and what can help us. And this attitude that I can do it, and this attitude exactly helps us to find those solutions. Because if people say I cannot do it, it means that they even wouldn't think about looking for solution, right?
That's absolutely right, Elena. And I've got another project at the moment where, to all apparently, it's not a feasible project. I'll explain what it is. It's 118 holiday homes in the Midlands, in an area where you would not expect to find a lot of holiday homes. So it's not an established tourist area, but we're actually investigating the feasibility of carrying out this development because it does have a lot of things going for it. It's near a lot of popular tourist attractions within an hour's drive, and it's near shopping centres, particularly in the Midlands, in Birmingham. It's near an airport in Birmingham. So it's a little bit further away from London, which is where people automatically think they can fly to the UK, but it's still close to an international airport. So what we want to do is to interest overseas investors who could come to the UK to use such a holiday home for up to 4 months per year. And then what we'll arrange is that they can rent out their property for the balance of the year. Whenever they're not using it, we'll have a management company there that can actually let the property out for them. So apart from being an investment, which appreciates, it will also have a return on the investment from the rental, which is accrued from each property. So you're absolutely right to say you need to think out of the box, and we're thinking out of the box on that particular development because the current owner of the land has progressed things to get the planning approval, but even though they've got the planning approval, it's another step to actually carry out the development. So we're thinking about it differently. We're going to sell to overseas investors and we're going to bring in capital which will fund the development, and then the investors will get a return from the rental income as well. So everyone wins out of it, but it's only possible by thinking out of the box.
Yes, exactly. And what do you think about this statement that Richard Branson did, that when he said that when you see a good opportunity and you don't know how to do it, say yes and figure it out in the process.
Yes, I absolutely agree with Richard Branson's approach on that, and provided you've got the resources and the resourcefulness to actually come up with solutions, you can do it. And I think Richard Branson is a great example of someone who has created businesses which are outside his original sort of sphere of experience and knowledge. And for example, he started Virgin Trains, a business where he had no prior experience, and by all sort of usual sort of accepted mantra, you would not start a train business if you didn't have some experience in operating railways. But he did that, and then he also started an airlines company which he didn't have experience of, but he got the right people around him to actually solve the problems that are inherent in operating that sort of business. So I think provided that you safeguard yourself against the risks, I think that Richard Branson's approach, it's proven to be good because he's succeeded, against what many would advise as being areas of business you should not go into. There have been lots of airlines which have actually gone bust, but Virgin Airlines has not been one of them. And similarly, Virgin Trains operates successfully in the Midlands. So I think Richard Branson is a great example to follow. To say yes to opportunity, but then be resourceful about how you solve the problems that are inherent in the opportunity that you've been offered.
Yes, I like this approach, and it also related to believing in yourself and having faith. Yes, so how does this help you? Because when we speak about big goals, this is important, and when we speak about this attitude that I can do it, it comes together with believing in yourself and trusting universe that when you do your right things and when you consistent, when you persistent, and you don't stop, you don't go sideways, that universe will support you and you will create all necessary features and connect with necessary people in situation which are needed. You will be attracted to you. So how does this comes in your business?
Yes, I think this belief in yourself is absolutely fundamental, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will believe in you. Nobody else will have confidence in you if you're not confident in your ability to portray that you can solve the problem. So it's another part of mindset, and you need to convince people that you have the capability to solve their problem, that you can take their pain away from them and solve their problem and create what I like to create is win-win solutions. But it comes out of having a belief that it's possible. And if we take one of the projects that I'm currently looking at, which two of them, in fact, plenty of people have said to me, oh no, they can't be done. But in fact, they can be done if you approach it in the right way. And the approach on each project is different, the problems are different, but you need to have that belief that you can find the right formula to solve the problems on that particular project. So a lot of my work has been related to projects, and it goes back sort of many years, sort of working on different types of building and civil engineering project in different environments. And there are always problems in these sort of projects. And what you do is you set about solving the problems, formulating the right team around you, a specialist to help you to solve the problems that you've got. But you've got to have that belief that you can solve the problems, because if you don't believe that you can solve the problems, then your team won't believe it either. So you've got to have people around you who also believe in what is possible. And on one of the projects that I had recently, I was told by this one advisor, well, it's not possible. I still believe it is possible. So I'm not using that advisor because why use them if they're telling me it's not possible? And I've got on board people who are thinking it is possible. And I strongly believe it is possible and it will be a profitable project.
So when you invite people and you consider them as be part of your team, what is the percentage I would say about their skills and knowledge and their mindset and their attitude? So when you choose people to work with you, how you would prioritize that?
Yes, that's a good question. And they have got to have the right skills and experience. But more important than the skills and experience is the mindset, because you've got to have people who have a can-do attitude and who believe that the problems that exist can be solved. And I've seen this with some of the best leaders that I've worked with in the industry, that they choose people around them who they can trust and they can rely on. They know them because they worked with them before, and they know that they can get the right results using those people. So it's more about relationships and having the right people around you rather than choosing someone based on uh, uh, skills and qualifications. It's more a matter of being comfortable with their attitude and their ability to produce the results that you want. But it is definitely a mindset issue because some of the projects that I've been involved in have been very challenging, and some of them, many of them, carried out in overseas countries where the culture is different from the UK. And to get a positive outcome, you've got to believe that you can do it, and then you've got to have a team around you who also believes you can do it, and then you can get something delivered. If you get people who are not thinking it can be done, or trying to find ways to sabotage it, then it's better that you work without those people rather than have them on your team. It's better to have a smaller team of people you can rely on rather than a larger team of people who include some doubters.
Yes, yes, because if people have all the skills and knowledge, but if they don't have the right attitude, and the attitude is negative about themselves or about maybe the idea or about somebody in team members, they will hold all the team back, and they can be toxic, and energy will be different. So this is so important. And when I think that when people work together, it is important that they have the big vision, which inspires them, and when they can see how they can achieve their personal goals by helping everyone in the team become successful. So when they have this attitude, they're not just a group of people who compete, but become a team who create and who support each other and who achieve their big goal together. And this is why attitude is the key.
Absolutely, attitude is the key, and I can't help but think of the people of Ukraine and how they're actually fighting for their existence. And despite overwhelming odds, they're actually achieving that objective of remaining independent from Russia. It's quite admirable. I could talk for a long time about this, but yes, you need the right mindset and you need the right people around you, because you don't need doubters, you need people who are committed to the cause.
Yeah, I think that this attitude that there is no way but to win, and especially if you fight for your rights, if you fight for your family, for the well-being of people who you love, and you know that you want peace, you want to live in love, you want to create And this is what helps people to have so brave and overcome so many challenges and have that strength to stay on that course.
Yes, it's remarkable what the people of Ukraine have done with the limited resources they've had, and the fact that they're totally committed and they have the right positive mindset, despite the frustrations of having allies who don't deliver on all the promises they've made. You know that they're still fighting and still remaining very positive. It's just an amazing attitude. As I say, I could talk for a long time about it, but it's absolutely commendable.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your perception about this situation. And I would like you to ask this question. If there would be something that you would like to share from maybe what was your mistake that you it gave you a good lesson in life, what would that be that you would like to share to people? Maybe it can help them to not go to that way.
Yes, sure. I've always been quite a positive person, and I've admired some very positive people who I've come across in the past as leaders. And there was one particular person who I'd known and admired for 25 years or so. And he asked me to help him with a company that he was setting up in the Middle East. And I did actually help him. I gave him my time. I committed my energy to his company. And I despite sort of subsidizing his company by giving him my time for free, and he promised to pay me, and not only in verbal conversation but also in contract as well. Despite all of those promises, repeated promises, he didn't actually pay me. So I do find that you can come across some people who, despite the fact you help them, and despite the fact they make great promises and undertakings to do something, they fail to do it, which is very disappointing. So I suppose the lesson I took from that was to limit the amount of free help that I give to people. I will help people for free, particularly if I think that they deserve help. But I'm more cautious these days about investing large amounts of my time and in money in that case, because you have to invest money to work in the Middle East. You can't just go there. You need to pay rent, and you need to buy food and so on. And so it's an expensive place, particularly in the UAE, to live and work. And so I certainly wouldn't do that again. So I'm more inclined these days to do things that are productive for myself. And I do collaborate with a lot of people, and I am prepared to give them my time, because I know that some people are very well intentioned, and they do reciprocate, and they do help me because I help them, and they help me, which is a great time trade off. And it just makes you feel good when you help someone to achieve something they want to achieve, and they in return may help you, or they may not. But I suppose the big lesson for me was that I didn't really know this person until I actually worked for them in the Middle East, and I realised that they've got a massive ego, which meant that they actually repelled people who wanted to help them. I introduced them to a number of people who would have been good for their business, but because of their ego, they actually repelled those people. So, sometimes there are certain personalities who you get to know better, and you find out that they're somewhat flawed despite first appearances.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And one more question I would like to ask you: if there would be one advice that you would give to people who listen to us that would help them, you think, to grow their business and achieve success, achieve results that they're looking for, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question, Elena. And my advice would be to say whatever your dream is, to go for it. If you can dream it, you can do it. And I would suggest that anyone who has any ambitions to do something, think big, and then go all out for it. So don't compromise on your dreams, and don't compromise on your efforts that you put into achieving your dreams either. Because if you really go all out for something, you can achieve it. And I'm becoming more and more convinced that is the case, particularly in this age of other people's money, where you've got investors who are prepared to invest in people's ideas and people's dreams, because that's what ideas are. There's someone's inspiration and someone's ambition, and you can get people who will invest in you despite the fact you may not have any money. But there's a much more open environment for business these days. So my piece of advice would be, if you can dream it, you can do it, and go out all out for your ambition.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Yeah, think big and dream big. This was the concept behind the book, which is written by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, so it is all comes from having that big picture, much bigger than you are today. And the reason for achieving, purpose of achieving those goals is to grow. Yes, and growth also, it always comes with change. So we constantly change ourselves, we go from our comfort zone, we start doing what is not comfortable. Yes, and this process with constant change and growth, and be persistent, have that big vision in your mind, helps us to succeed and achieve those things which initially might think even like impossible. Yeah, but with having this mindset, we can do and make everything possible.
Absolutely right. And surround yourself with the right people, the people who've got the right sort of mindset and the right sort of approach.
Thank you very much, Alan. It was such a great experience, and I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and your success story with us. And I am looking to see you in our another podcast that is Fulfilled Millennium soon.
Thank you, Elena. I look forward to that, and I'd also look forward to you speaking on my podcast as well. I've got a podcast called Property Talk, and as I mentioned, mindset is so important in property. So look forward to seeing you and speaking to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, it will be my pleasure. Thank you for inviting.